My daughter received a bike from her uncle, my brother, on her 11th birthday. She was over the moon and excited to use it because it was on her wish list for so long. Days ago, I discovered that my husband reached out to my brother to ask for the recipient for the bike and returned it to the store and kept the money for himself while my daughter was at school. The bike was at home. My daughter and I got home and she started crying after noticing the bike was gone. My husband was home at the time. He told me he returned the bike and got money in return to spend on something useful for us since the bike was just there as a distraction and there was no need for it now since we're the dead of winter. I was aggravated and lost it on him, saying it wasn't his, didn't come from him, and he didn't pay for it, so he had no right to touch it, especially knowing our daughter's been wanting it for a long time and my brother was decent enough to buy it for her despite barely having money to get him by. I told him what he did was theft and insisted he hand over the money to me so I could repurchase it, but he said he spent it on stuff for the house and doesn't have any money left now. But I knew about the money he was stashing away in the bedroom that he forbade me from touching, and I took some of it and went out to repurchase the bike while he was out the next day. He found out and verbally lashed out at me, saying I should have never touched the money he was saving for himself, which isn't much, but I lashed right back that I had to so I could repurchase the bike he took from under our daughter. He explained that he didn't keep the money for himself and instead spent it for necessities for our home, but he was at fault for taking the bike in the first place and he was responsible for getting it back. He yelled at me for almost 10 minutes, then stormed outside and started smoking. My daughter asked why her dad was upset and that she no longer wants the bike if dad doesn't want her to have it, but I assured her that's not the case and told her she shouldn't feel guilty and to just focus on enjoying her bike. My husband hasn't stopped grilling me about how I disrespected and undermined him and managed to make our daughter hate him after making him look like the bad guy. I again said he shouldn't have touched the bike. End of the story. He's called me thief and juvenile for taking money from his savings and being sneaky about it. Am I the idiot for the way I got the bike back? Not the idiot, but your husband is. What he did was selfish, immature and plainly stupid. Like someone below asked, why are you with him? He doesn't sound from that story as upstanding father, and neither upstanding husband. He abused you. Verbally, it is still violence and should not be allowed in a relationship. I hope your daughter is happy with her bike back. If he tries to pull something like that again, just kick him out of your and her life. Also, if he lashes out again, record him. Not the idiot, your husband is disgusting. He puts his stash and stuff over his daughter's. If you're struggling, I get it, but you don't start liquidating gifts your kid receives while keeping your own money off limits. It'd be one thing if y'all were hurting so bad that you had no money left and had no other choice. It's entirely another to put your wife and child on the we can't afford nice things island, while you have your own money and things. Not the idiot, and I would also suggest you get a very nice thick lock for the bike to prevent him returning it again. I would also use something to etch her name and phone number into the frame of the bike so it is less easy to return. What he did was horrible and was theft. You are entitled to rectify the situation with marital funds. See, because you are married, most judges would consider his little hidden savings as community property, so you had every right to take what was needed to replace the stolen gift. I am a single, mid-30s guy who is part of a decent-sized social group. Another person from this group that I don't know that well, Laura, approached me at a get-together and said she has a friend she wanted to set me up with. I'm not opposed to being set up, but Laura and I don't really know each other well, and I'm not so socially outgoing that going out with just anyone is especially appealing. I said I wasn't really sure, trying to politely decline. Laura says she was told I've been set up before, and her friend is great, etc. I was doing the whole I don't know thing, trying to not be too brusque with a flat no and hoping she'll pick up on the obvious lack of interest and stop putting me in this uncomfortable situation. Instead, Laura says she at least wants to tell me about her friend, Kim, 30s, and starts giving a quick rundown of her attributes and interests, which were all indoor activities. Seeing a legitimate out, I tell Laura that Kim sounds nice, but I'm really more of an outdoorsy person and would prefer that in a potential partner. For a little background, I have a piece of land and I foster rescue animals. This is dogs and cats mostly, but I'll take in fowl and even the occasional horse, sheep, goat, etc. I mention all of this because that is my ultimate life goal, to work in foster and rescue as much as I can, though it isn't my regular paying job. Additionally, I am a very outdoorsy person. I camp, mountain climb, scuba dive, etc. even on days when foster care doesn't keep me busy, I spend as many daylight hours as I can outside, doing this or that. I point out this lack of shared interests and Laura responds that maybe Kim just needs to be given the chance to learn if she's an outdoor person and I could show her that side of things. At this point I probably should have just firmly said no, but Laura's argument struck me as odd, so I said that I think someone Kim's age has a pretty good idea of if they are an outdoorsy person or not. Laura then kind of hesitantly says no because Kim is in a wheelchair. I tell Laura that I'm sure Kim is great, but if I was to find someone, it would have to be someone who is interested and able to be a part of the life I'm living and trying to build, and it doesn't sound like Kim fits that. Laura said that I'm a horrible person for not even considering meeting Kim because she's in a wheelchair, and I responded by saying I wasn't particularly interested in meeting before I learned that fact. Laura called me some choice words and left. The incident has made its way around my social circle, and when asked, I have said that while I was not especially interested in being set up with Kim in the first place, her being in a wheelchair did cement that inclination. This isn't because I think she's a bad person, but our lives and interests are not compatible. Ultimately I have the support of my close friends, but I've also had several people tell me I'm an ableist poss and such. Not the idiot. I am wheelchair bound myself. I think you were being as tactful and polite as possible before it was revealed that Kim is in a wheelchair. You have your interest, passion and goals well established. They were communicated in advance. On the flip side, I absolutely would not want to be set up with someone who was into physical activities that I couldn't participate in to the fullest. It would require someone having to make a very significant sacrifice. My marriage ended over less sharp distinctions and someone's inability to accept one person's limitations on their life. It creates a divide that can't be crossed sometimes. Not the idiot, but Laura absolutely is. You cannot force an interest or connection, and it's not ableist to want a partner that complements your lifestyle. Her berating you and calling you things because you're not interested in someone is a major idiot move and is the exact opposite of constructive. Like, did she expect you to cave and just meet her anyway because she called you ableist? Does she really think Kim wants to get sympathy dates from people who were emotionally blackmailed into meeting her? Cut ties with her, nothing good will come from that association. Not the idiot. You're not rejecting Kim because she uses a wheelchair, you're rejecting her because she doesn't share any of your interests. If Kim is in her 30s, she's had plenty of time to learn whether she likes the outdoors or not. Some of your favorite activities, mountain climbing, hiking, probably scuba, are things that Kim just couldn't do with you, because you can't do them in a wheelchair. If Kim was an outdoorsy type person who fitted the rest of your life, but just wouldn't be able to do some things, then this might be fine, but it sounds like you have no interests in common at all. I, 40, have a daughter Erin, 16. When Erin was 10, me and my ex-husband Mike divorced and he moved to a different city for work. He would come and see Erin a few times a year and sometimes she would fly to see him. As I'm the only adult Erin has left, I normally cook for both of us, and occasionally for my boyfriend when he is over for dinner. I am not a health freak and mostly try to make filling and nutritional meals with cheat meals once or twice a week. I also try to make meals from different cuisines at least once a week. A few months ago my ex-husband moved back to our city alongside with his wife Kim, 32. Erin was happy about it as it meant she could see her dad more often, and we have agreed that she can stay over their new place over the weekend and holidays if they don't have other plans. I have met Kim a few times and she seems lovely and I trust Mike to look after her. However, since staying with them, Erin kept talking what a good cook Kim is and how tasty her food is. When I have asked her what she is having when she stays, she mentioned a lot Asian and Asian-inspired dishes, which I have no issues with, since I went through a phase of eating a specific cuisine for a few years when I was younger too. So I have tried making more Asian-like foods at home to keep Erin happy: ramen, pad thai, different grilled meats, kimchi, etc. However, no matter what I make, new or old dishes, Erin would say she doesn't like them and they don't taste good. I have tried cooking her favorite meals and desserts from before and got the same reaction. Over last 2 weeks it got to the point where she would refuse to eat anything I cook and would either go and stay with friends or have food at Mike's place. I got tired of this, and when Erin came back told her that if she doesn't like my cooking she can cook herself and do her own shopping, since she knows how to cook and we have a large supermarket 2 minutes down the road from us. Erin got upset and went to her bedroom to pick her clothes and is currently staying with Mike. Mike and my own parents called me to tell I am being unreasonable and an idiot since Erin is my daughter, so I can't keep starving her. I don't think I am being an idiot here since my daughter refuses to eat anything I make these days, however would appreciate a second opinion. My daughter is 14 and I've had this rule since she learned to cook Mr. Noodles, eggs and bacon, and rice for Girl Guides when she was 9. Don't like what I am cooking? Make something you like then. She's quite the cook now herself and is less picky because she now knows how much work it is to make enough food for 5+ people and how upsetting it is when someone refuses to eat the food you cooked. Her little brother has refused to eat anything she cooked for months, for them. You aren't starving her, you are telling her you aren't going to keep making food that will go to waste because she won't eat it and is going elsewhere. Tell her when you are going shopping and ask what ingredients she needs for her meals and buy them. Have them on hand so she can make her food, but don't go out of your way for her when she has made it clear she doesn't intend to eat what you make anymore. I cooked for myself when I was way younger and so have many people. As long as you're giving her money to shop and giving her an option to eat, you're doing more for her than most parents. But I'd suggest cooking with her so she feels responsible for the meal you eat together as well. It's often easier to criticize others than yourself at that age, and that way no one gets offended since you succeed or fail together. After understanding the work it takes to cook every day with you, I'm sure she'll change her tune. Update. The past few weeks have been hard and I think Erin has seen my post. So she came back home accompanied by her father and Kim. She has apologized for her actions and said there was nothing wrong with the food I made, it just she preferred Kim's cooking at the time, but after living with them for a bit she realized it was not that special. We sat down and Kim gave her perspective. As she runs a local restaurant, when Erin was staying over originally, Kim would make restaurant quality dishes that she would serve to the clients, and a lot of times they use more and stronger spices or different more expensive ingredients depending on the dish, and sometimes message to enhance flavor of sauces. When Erin moved in with them and not just coming to see them over the weekend, Kim switched to making similar dishes but in more domestic style, so probably that's why Erin didn't like mine and homemade Kim's meals, as they had less spices or sauces. She also explained it to Erin. Erin seemed to be very excited, so I have asked her if anything happened. She said that Kim allowed her to learn some cooking at her restaurant when it is not too busy, and she asked if I'm okay with this. I was relieved and told her I would be happy for her to learn, but also warned her that she might get too stressed with all those after-school activities, and if she wants she can drop some that she doesn't enjoy. I have also suggested her to cook for us a dish she learned, me, my BF, my ex-husband, Kim and herself, maybe once a month, to see how close it would be to restaurant level. We have also agreed to have some cooking days where me and Kim share and exchange our secrets and techniques when cooking, and Erin is free to join in. Thanks so much for the update. It's so nice to hear how this situation turned out. It sounds like everyone in this situation was able to approach it and work it out like adults, which is great and a fabulous lesson for Erin. Kim sounds like a great step-parent, and I'm happy Erin is able to bond with her without it genuinely coming in between you and her, save for the road bump of misunderstandings that arose around Kim's cooking and Erin's behavior. As if Erin has been granted a bonus parent, or maybe two, depends on the dynamic with your boyfriend, to love and care for her alongside the two she already has. I think you handled the initial situation really well, and I think the fallout of it was handled very well, too. I, 27, got engaged recently. We had the engagement party at a restaurant. It was paid for by my future mill. My sister, 22, came with my parents. She is the type that lives by the body positivity concept, which is more than okay, but she tends to put me in situations where I find myself having to deal with people's reactions, and I'll explain what I mean in a minute. She came to the party wearing a dress above the knee. My future mill and the other women were staring at her legs constantly. Mill then pulled me aside and pointed out my sister's leg hair. I was completely baffled and quite shocked. She said it made her and the other women feel uneasy and weirded out. I said I was sorry for how they felt and tried to stay calm, but I was mad from the inside. The women continued to stare and my sister acted like everything was fine. I honestly felt like she caused disruption to the party. I brought it up with her later and told her about what the guests felt about her unshaved legs. She kept chewing on her gum while completely acting like it was nothing. She even said my future-in-law women need to chill. I told her this was unacceptable and that she should have shaved before coming, since it was my event and I had to deal with the looks and disruption from the women. My parents told me to get off her back and leave her alone. Then they left. Mom is now telling me to apologize for upsetting my sister after she came to share my happy moments. I told this to my fiance and he just kept laughing and making comments about how women are ridiculous. Am I the idiot wrong here? I feel like she disrespected me and my guests. You're the idiot. It's her body. She can do what she wants with it, including leaving the hair on her legs that grows there naturally. You say you're more than okay with the body positivity concept, but then immediately say that it means you have to deal with people's reactions. You absolutely don't have to deal with any of that. You could have just shrugged and told the other guests, "Oh, I guess my sister doesn't like to shave." If they're made uncomfortable, weirded out by something so superficial, that's their problem. You're obviously not more than okay with your sister being comfortable in her own skin regardless of what other people think. It might be helpful for you to examine why. You're the idiot. Your sister has every right to shave or not shave her legs whenever she feels like it. If the other women were weirded out by it, that is their problem. If something so minor as some hair on a leg causes them to feel uncomfortable, they, and yourself, seriously need to reevaluate themselves and their priorities. You should have stood up for your sister instead of apologizing for her decision on what she did with her own body. They were so focused on your sister's leg hair that they couldn't enjoy the engagement party? In this, I'm going to say your husband is right. Women are ridiculous. Ridiculous in the fact that your mill was so bothered by body hair that she felt she had to pull you to the side. It's body hair, it's natural occurring, and I love that your sister embraces this and doesn't adhere to social norms. You berating her for her choice is such an idiot move, as well. I would have politely told everyone to mind their business and to carry on as normal because it wasn't a big deal.